The new Snake Festival event brings 2 troops and an epic piece of equipment, so let's tell you everything you need to know. The event begins on the 7th of February, lasting the entire month, but you will get a tutorial when you first start. Red lanterns are all around, Chief. It's time to celebrate the Lunar New Year. Something strange in the trader shop is summoning snakes in your village. It is the Year of the Snake. That is the new equipment. I'll tell you all about it. You collect red lanterns from multiplayer battles. These let you get snake medals, in which you can trade at the trader shop for the equipment and more. Good luck, Chief. Let the Snake Festival begin. So when you start, you will get 100 red lanterns to get you started, and this is actually enough to claim the first temporary troop. So we can go ahead and claim the snake barrel straight away. I have to say, for the gold track, which is when you purchase the event pass, or the silver, I love the snake skin as you move along. But the Firecracker, this is the other limited edition troop, you unlock at 1,000 points. You can actually get that straight away if you are purchasing the event pass, because you gain 1,000 bonus medals. Should you be purchasing this, you can support a creator beforehand by pressing the C and entering their code. My code is Judo. We get a small kickback from this, and it helps to support the channel massively. You might also want to consider doing this on the Supercell store, because you earn extra in-game items from purchasing over there. I will get the event pass here on the developer build, so I can show you the difference in rewards if you purchase this or not. Let's get the Firecracker claimed then, and as you saw, you progress through the track claiming red lanterns. These will be in 3 random buildings, which you can destroy as you go through your attacks. The way the event system works, it does not matter what league you are in other than Legends League, where you get a slight bonus since you are limited in the amount of attacks you can do. I like to use the Giant Arrow, Fireball, or Lightning spells to farm these very quickly, but typically as events go on, the amount you can earn will scale up over to help assure that you can complete it. Notably, at 2,500 red lanterns is when you unlock your 30% training boost. This does stack on top of your gold pass perk, and it always makes attacking so much easier during these events. To get to the end of the track, you require 16,000 red lanterns, and this is when you can get your free obstacle, the Snake Shrine. There is also a bonus track where you can gain an extra 650 snake medals. This does require 21,000 red lanterns to complete though. This means as a free-to-play player, you can gain 3,750 snake medals in total. However, for the previous event, there was also free medals on the Supercell store. This is planned again for this month, and if it follows the same pattern as last event, there will likely be an extra couple of 100 medals you can get in total across the course of the event. However, if you do purchase the event pass, on top of this, you will have an additional 5,500 medals. Before we go to the trader shop though, just quickly going over the ore. From the free side of the pass, there will be 5,000 shiny ore and 400 glowy ore. If you purchase the pass, you get an additional 600 glowy ore and 80 starry ore. The starry ore is only required for epic equipment upgrades, and the epic available in this event is the Snake Bracelet for the Barbarian King. I always recommend purchasing the equipment using the medals so that you don't have to worry about getting it with gems later down the line. I will be explaining how the Snake Bracelet works in a moment, but let's stick to the trader shop. Like the last event, there is previous equipment as well. As a free-to-play player, you will only be able to get one of these, so you might opt for one of the previous equipment over the Snake Bracelet, but if you do purchase the event pass, it does mean you could get a couple of these. However, note that there was equipment balance changes announced for the February update, and whilst the spiky ball is not being nerfed, its combination along with the earthquake boots, which could previously one-shot a ton of buildings, will be impacted by the earthquake nerf. If you do have extra medals, you might want to get one though, or you might want to just focus on ore, because remember, the spiky ball and the rocket spear, whilst they are available in the trader shop for gems, you can also get them out of a legendary chest. So if it comes down to which one out of the 3 pieces of equipment should you go for, if you have a certain strategy in mind, you should go for that one. But in general, I would opt for the Snake Bracelet for those reasons. The limited edition decorations are the lucky cookies. And you can also get the regular deco in that of the monk statue. If you don't really care about these though, I would recommend spending most of your medals on ore so that you can hopefully upgrade as many pieces of equipment as possible. It all depends on what you require for your upgrades, to be honest. If you're more of an active player, it's probably the glowy or the starry ore that you will need. If you are considering any of the other items, remember with the training boost, you can farm more during events, so probably the time-based magic items, the builder potion or the research potion, or any of the books would be the best value for you. Let's now cover the new troops and then the equipment. Firstly, we have the Snake Barrel. This starts at level 1 for Town Hall 6 players and scales up over to level 12 for Town Hall 17 players, just like the event troops always do, and as ever, you cannot donate these to the clan castle. It works exactly the same as the Skeleton Barrel in the clan capital. It is defense targeting, but then will open up, spawning a mass of snakes. So whilst it is 8 housing space and has all of the lucky number 8s, 888 hit points and 88 damage, this only really helps in getting the snake barrel to a defense, because once it gets there, it will open up, dealing that small amount of damage, but then spawning at max level for Town Hall 17, 20 snakes. Because of the amount of them, they are quite vulnerable, only 200 hit points, and they deal 50 damage. When you multiply that by a lot of them though, in perspective, one snake barrel can output 1000 damage per second, which is greater than a maxed level Archer Queen. This instantly makes you want to use a bunch of snake barrels to spawn all of them and just roll through the base. And as fun as it is, it really isn't that effective at high level because there is so much splash damage around the base to easily take them out. Whilst they do have enough health that you can use a healing spell on the snakes, and particularly the Grand Warden's Eternal Tome and Healing Tome is fantastic to grab a big group of snakes to push through an area of the base. Ultimately, I think they will just be better as a lower Town Hall troop where there isn't as much splash to worry about, and therefore they can push through the base a bit easier. I will say that depending on the area, it can be quite nice to send in just one snake barrel ahead of your hero, such as the Barbarian King if you're diving him into a compartment. The snake barrel can work just as we would use a skeleton spell to distract, but they actually deal more damage. They also have the ability to jump over walls in order to keep ahead of the Barbarian King and help to tank. So at higher level, that is probably the main way that I will be using this troop. Next up, we have the Firecracker, which did make an appearance last Lunar New Year. This is a ranged troop that when it fires is pushed back a little bit, but it can splash through the initial target, much like a scatter shot. It can reach 2 tiles behind the building that the Firecracker is targeting. So sometimes if there is a dangerous defense behind storages, you could angle multiple Firecrackers in order to take that out. It is kind of a hybrid of the Super Archer and the Super Wizard. It has the greater range, it can splash through buildings, and the stats are very much in between both of those. It has less hit points and damage than that of a Super Wizard, but it is less housing space than that of a Super Archer. Much like both of those troops, the way that you will use the Firecracker is behind a tank. At higher level, this is likely to be the Root Riders, where you can just spread them in a line with the Firecrackers behind. If you don't have access to Root Riders, you can use them behind Yetis. The Yeti and Super Archer attack is incredibly popular with 8 Earthquake spells, or if you're a lower Town Hall level, you could use the Firecracker behind Giants instead of the Giant and Wizard strategy. Either way, you just need to assure there is a tank in front of the Firecrackers to help keep them protected. Finally, let's move to the new epic equipment in that of the Snake Bracelet. This is all passive, so when you press the hero ability, this equipment has 0 impact. Summon snakes that fight by your side when taking damage. This is throughout the entire attack. As long as your king is alive and taking damage, he will spawn snakes periodically. These begin at level 1, and as you upgrade the equipment, the level of the snake increases, which basically just improves their hit points and their damage per second. Whilst it doesn't say here, there does appear to be an upper limit at maxed level. This appears to be 54 snakes. Just know that if your king is taking damage, he will spawn snakes periodically, much like when you use a Yeti, and periodically there is Yeti mites that spawn. In terms of hero boosts, so what is applied to the king throughout the attack, 75 DPS. There are other equipment for the Barbarian King which provide more damage than this. However, the hit point increase provided is the greatest out of any of the king equipment. I feel like this, in combination with the fact that the king gets an attack speed increase, indicates that this equipment is meant to be synergized with the Vamp Stash. That is, where the king is recuperating health every time that he is attacking. So if he's attacking faster, he's able to recuperate health faster, and he has the greater hit points as well. That said, a lot of the time when you use the Vamp Stash, you send the king down the flank, because if you're sending him into the middle of the base, often other equipment is more beneficial. However, with the snakes, I did find that often they would just jump over the wall and end up going down relatively quick. So whilst they are continuing to provide some damage absorption, it depends on the base as to whether towards the back end you are going to need the earthquake boots to then dive the king in, but generally speaking, if you just want to set it and forget it, sending your king down the flank, this can work well with the Vamp Stash. However, I don't feel like this equipment, much like the snake barrels, is the best for higher levels where there is a lot more splash around the base. I feel like Town Hall 12 and below, or I guess even Town Hall 11 and below, where the Town Hall doesn't fight back, is where the snake bracelet will be the best, because you also then have the option of sending the king into the base and getting pretty good value from the snakes. In theory, it could be good in a king dive where you're trying to get a bit of value, set up pathing for your main attack, but really, whilst the snakes are helping to provide some damage and absorb damage, there's just better options, in my opinion, when you're at the higher levels of the game. So some equipment is easier to call how effective they will be out of the gates. I'm not necessarily thinking that the snake bracelet will be top of the meta, such as what was fairly obvious with the electro boots, so I wouldn't really recommend putting the ore into it until you can see exactly how the meta establishes and whether there's some weird and wonderful ways that get found out on how to use this equipment. To me, I would always recommend investing your ore into versatile equipment, and unless you are at the lower town hall levels, out of the gates, I just don't think that is the case with the snake bracelet, but maybe I will be proved wrong on release. I hope you found this one helpful. On that note, if you do want to see when I maxed the electro boots and took them into Clan Wars, I have that video linked on your screen. Enjoy the rest of your day.